Well, as far as getting started, having a Thursday practice today, we'll get going with our nickel, get going with that, and then it's good to be here, good to get going out there with the guys and get ready for the game this weekend. So I don't really have anything to get started, so let you all fire away.
Eddie Goldman, out of practice yesterday. Can you give us an update on what the extent of that? There's 2 body parts listed.
Yeah. He tweaked his knee on Monday in practice, and so he's going to be day to day, literally. So he didn't practice yesterday. We'll just continue to see where that's at, but we'll see where he's at tomorrow. But day to day for him.
Ankle an issue also?
No, his was it was the knee, so he's just in practice, and now we go, day to day. We'll see where he's at.
You expect him to practice today?
I don't know. We'll see.
Matt, were there any signs with Eddie prior to this tweak on Monday that he was still playing his way back into shape after being away for a year?
I thought Hubby's looking pretty good. I think he's in a good place. So, we just got to see where he's at, but no, there was no. Other than that, man, he's been rocking and rolling this whole time, and just proud of him for that. And I think the biggest thing for us going into this was trying to figure out where he was conditioning wise and everything, and he did great with that. So, yeah.
Do the practice squad rules that continue this year give you a little bit more flexibility when it comes to not only bringing guys there, but promoting them when you need some depth?
It does. It allows you to have some depth, and then there's a little bit of making sure that the guys, who you bring on, there's whether it's position wise, you create more depth. I like it. I think it's good, and now you get into the whole deal of the travel, not travel thing. But I think we have a pretty good plan for that.
Now with Jalen Ramsey and how they've used him and kind of moved him around a little bit, what are the challenges that throws at you, kind of scheming that up?
I would say they do a good job, and we'll see this year what they end up doing with him. But you saw him playing nickel last year, inside, outside. He's a really good football player. So anytime you have a good football player, it doesn't really matter where you put him. He's going to make plays, and I think he's done that his entire career, and we understand that.
The guys you had yesterday who were limited, any reason for concern for their availability Sunday?
I don't think so. No, I don't think so. Can't even tell you if I know who it is.
Quinn, Mack, Mooney, those are all fairly.
No, I feel pretty good.
With Quinn in particular, I know you guys have been kind of monitoring his back since what?
Mm-hmm.
Does he when he's out there, does he look healthy to you? Does he look like the back isn't a big deal?
He does, yeah. He looks good to me. I think he's put together a really good training camp, and now here we are week 1, and now it's just about going out and doing his thing and letting him cutting him loose on Sunday night.
How eager do you think he is to?
How
eager do you think he is to kind of put last year behind him and
If you guys know Robert, he's about as chill as they come, and so is he motivated? Yeah. Deep down inside, there's a reason why he's the type of player that he's been his whole career. So I'm sure there's a little chip inside, but for him, he never talks about it. I mean, he just wants to come out and be a great teammate and make plays.
Does Cyrus Tonga look like he could contribute at this point if needed?
He's done a great job in training camp, so yeah, I think there's a possibility there. First of all, he's a great kid. He's very just a hard worker and tough as nails, and so you love that about him. And he's done everything we've asked, so he's created a lot of depth for us, and he's very coachable. And I think Coach Rump's done a great job of really early on here developing him.
I have a question for you about play calling, and I ask this just because I want to understand your philosophy over the past year or so. Can you take me through the process of what happened for you as the play caller between last year saying it's for the best for me to step away from this, and then coming back this year and saying I'm ready to go with this, I'm the guy to call these plays?
Sure. Yeah, you go through you come in here, and for me, my first year in 2018, knowing going into it that I was going to be the play caller. And then every year is a little bit different. And so I think just after 3 years of where we were, you get into last year and you get to a point where, we were struggling. And, again, it was a gut decision for me, and I thought it was what was best for the team at that time. So for me to be able to do that, I go back and I reflect on it, and again, you learn in those situations, was it the right thing to do or not to do? And there's not necessarily a right or wrong answer, other than I think that I know going into this year, I feel really good with where I'm at as a play caller.
Why, though? I'm curious why you felt like you were in a different place this year than you were toward the end of last
I
year?
don't know if I have an exact answer for that, other than just really, you go into every year is a little bit different. So I'm not the first guy to do that, and I'm certainly not the last.
Doesn't happen often, though.
I don't know about that. You might not know that. You know what I mean?
No, it's possible, you're right, but you don't hear about it very often.
Very true. I agree with you on that.
Matt, over time, what have you come to, I guess, appreciate or admire about Sean McVay's offense and the things that he's able to get unlocked?
Yeah, no, he does a great job at, putting guys in great positions, having an identity with what they do. I think he's a really good teacher. You see that his players really like him. And so when you have a guy that's a good teacher, that has good schemes and players like him, you're going to have success. So I think what he's done now heading into his 5th year as a head coach, he's kind of carved a path for a lot of younger guys, myself included, in having opportunities. And so I think for him, anytime you take your team to the Super Bowl and you have the amount of respect that coaches around the league give you and peers and people around the league give you, there's a reason for that. So I got a lot of respect for him. I think he's a hell of a coach. And, he definitely makes it tough for you as an offensive play caller and a designer. So all credit to him.
When you caught wind in January that Stafford was going there, what were your initial reactions to that quarterback going into that system?
Yeah, no, well, number one, the respect that I have for Matthew, just in who he is as a player, going against him and just kind of being a quarterback guy all my life. And then you put him in that offense. And then, Coach McVay went out and got some other tools too. And I was with Deshaun in Philadelphia. Don't get it twisted. He might be older in age, but he can still blaze. So Sean knows that. But I think just I'm sure he's excited, but it's going to be a challenge for us on defense. So we'll have to be ready.
Bill Lazor said that third downs are what key area he's looking for, Sunday, just as an area of improvement from last year. What did you identify as kind of the key element that was missing last year, and how did you attack it? Well, how can you improve?
Well, so I think big picture, without getting into schemes and understanding what we liked and didn't like that we've done and haven't done, the biggest thing is that, when you're able to generate pressure on a quarterback, with 4 and 5 man rushes, that makes it hard. And so, you sit there and you watch from the stuff that they did last year with the players that they have now. You see, forget scheme. When you just see the players and the pressure that they can create from all 4 or 5 of those guys on that D line and outside linebackers, they make it hard. They do a lot of good stuff. And so I would be, honest if I said we weren't the only ones that year that struggled on 3rd and 7 or, 3rd down in general. They're pretty good. So what we got to do is probably try to limit the amount of times that we're in those 3rd and longs, which is every game. But the Rams are a team that you don't want to live in 3rd and 7 plus.
Just in general, improving on third downs, in general, how confident are you that that's a problem that will be solved, or is that something?
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see. I can't tell you until we go out and do it. But I do, Mark, I feel good about what we're doing. I think Bill's hitting it on the head. Like, we understand that we need to be better, right? So now what are we going to do? And that's what I'm not going to say.
When the Rams made the trade for Stafford, it sent pretty big shockwaves through the NFL in offseason where everybody anticipated a lot of quarterback movement. You guys were doing your due diligence on all the quarterbacks you were looking at. You remember where you were when the trade went down and what your initial reaction was?
Yeah, I was yeah, I do remember where I was at. It was ironically in Cabo, so I was in Cabo, yeah.
Coincidence? Or?
I think it might have been coincidence.
Did you take dinner with all those guys?
No, I went to dinner with my wife.
Did you see Stafford when you were there?
No.
Good for him.
Matt,
Well, you asked me where I was, right?
Huh?
It was great. It was really good. There weren't many people there either, I know that.
You've talked all camp about not wanting to live in the past or look to the past and just try and go day by day by day here. You've got a defense that 3 years ago was the best in the league.
Mm-hmm.
You brought in a guy who runs stuff similar to Vic, who's, architect player. How do you merge remembering that, hey, we're capable of this with the 5 or 6 guys who are still on this team from
18 on defense, with not wanting to, live in the past?
Yeah, well, we're not going to live in the past. That's been made very clear. And not just from me. bat, but from Sean as well. You know what I mean? That's what I love about Sean is Sean doesn't care about that. This is gonna be Sean Desai's defense. And whatever scheme that is and how we do it. And the players know that, and they've known that from the very first meeting. So is there things that we can take away from the mentality that we had that I loved in 2018? 100%. And I think Vic and the rest of our coaching staff that year did a great job of really emphasizing that. But we're literally going to try to make our own mark this year. And that was the past, and that was a great year. But we're ready to see what we can do this year with a lot of similar players.
What about that mentality do you want them to remember?
The takeaways, the turnovers, and then also too, there was a little bit of swag out there that I think this team had, and I love that about these guys. And so when you're having fun, you're cutting it loose, you're playing fast, you're having success, that can help out so many ways. And I think when you see the good teams in this league that have that, you want that. And so that's what I would like to get back.
Matt, after that 2018 season, the defense has just kind of steadily regressed each year. But why do you think they can, some of these guys have aged.
Sure.
Why do you think realistically they can recapture?
Well, we all, the good thing is the guys that have aged are still in great, position age-wise. It's not like they're old, I mean, we have still a nucleus of guys and some young guys too that are coming up that are becoming third and fourth year players that are, it's a good mix. And so that's probably why I feel good about that mixture of young guys that are kind of young vets versus older guys that are, have been there, done that, but also understand like we want to get that back. So you got some leaders with the older guys that know what it takes to get back to what we were in 18. And don't, just because we didn't have all those numbers in 18, I think our defense still played pretty well when you go back and look at it. Now, are there some games where they didn't play well? Yeah. But there were some games we didn't play well in 2018 too. Remember that now. There was a few games in there we didn't play well. So I think in general, like our guys understand that. They want to get to the point where I go back to Khalil. Khalil wants to have the best, forget just him as a person, but he wants to have the best defense in the NFL. Every year we talk about that. So the mentality that they have is wisdom, and passing that on to these younger guys. That's why I feel the confidence, combining that with what Sean wants to do and how we're going to do it. I think it's a mindset, and that's a mindset we've started in training camp, and now we got to transfer that on game day and do that for the whole season.
In terms of the young guys, Jalen Johnson's going to be, in the spotlight.
Mm-hmm.
There's certainly some uncertainty at the cornerback spot, but he's your most certain thing. What do you like about him, and why do you think that he's prepared to elevate his game to, a number one corner, maybe one of the better ones in the league?
His mindset, number one, and then I can use yesterday as an example. Practice is over, and he's out there, a half an hour after practice, getting extra work in, with Eddie Jackson. And so when you see that as a coach, any coach, regardless of who you are, and they're still out there for a half an hour after practice doing stuff on their own, that's pretty rare. Like, that's uncommon. So I think that you see that. I can answer that question by saying, now he's got to do it on game day, but the kid wants it. And we have a lot of guys, not just those two guys. We have a lot of guys on offense, defense, special teams that are in that mode right now that I think is pretty neat because it's not being pushed. It's just them doing it. And he's one of those guys that was part of that.
Do you see any clear similarities or strong differences between Sean Desai and Brandon Staley?
Any similarities or differences?
Similarities and differences.
Yeah, well, I think it would be naturally Hub to say that, the path that they both took to get to where they're at right now, and Brandon taking it to a head coaching level and that sort of thing. But for me to be able to have both of them on the staff at the same time, now I was completely new. They were new to me. I didn't know them. We didn't know each other at that time. For me to be able to see Sean work like every day, all the time, and then Brandon I was with for that 1 year. But their paths are very similar. They're very bright. They're very likable, and they're really great teachers. I think that's what you see about these guys is you keep going back to teachers, but that's important. These guys, when you can connect with players, they trust you. And if they trust you, that's half the battle because the other half is their talent and what they do. So those guys do that, and they're able to be honest, to be trustworthy, and they're motivators. So I think that's probably the similarities, and they're both young too.
Matt, are you more confident in the play calling and the scheme and the playbook in part because of the personnel you have this year? When you look at quarterback, O-line, tight ends, running backs, wide receiver, everybody that you have, does that make you more confident in what your core concepts are?
I wouldn't say that necessarily as much as that's a part of it, because what happens is you get here and you start learning who players are, and you want to be able to fit your offense into what they do well, work to their strengths, and you work to that over time. At the same point in time, what happens is you get these players that understand what you're looking for within the general schemes of the offense for the third or fourth year, not for the first or second year. So they've seen a lot of these looks, these defenses. Now they know. And so as a play caller, for me, when you have that, there's a trust from me to call a play to know that that guy knows it like I know it. Where that might not have been the case in 18 or 19, right? And so then you say last year, well, it's the same thing. Like you have different guys. We had a lot of newer guys last year on offense. There were some newer faces. So they're learning it. Jimmy Graham's learning it for the first time. Cole Kmet's learning it for the first time. Mooney's in his second year. So, you get guys that are out here and being able to really understand the nuances of the offense. It takes a little bit of time. That's probably why I feel better.
You have a lot of new guys this year, too. It's not, especially at quarterback, it's not always time. Sometimes it's competency.
Mm-hmm. No, we do have new guys this year, too. And some of the new guys that we brought in, if we say the offense, right, you're dealing with a Goodwin and with a Demir Bird, those guys now also are guys that have been in other offenses where maybe the lingo, what they're doing is similar. It's the lingo that's a little different. So within the play, they've seen defenses and stuff, whereas bringing in some rookies, that's probably the biggest thing, is now we have rookies that we've drafted 1, 2, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, that are in this offense together. So that's where there's just a little bit more of that. And we'll see. That's the biggest challenge for all of us.
Matt, you've been through a lot of week ones as a head coach. Last year was obviously a completely different looking week one, no fans, and there was so many uncertainties about probably what was to come on the field, off the field. Do you think there will be a moment of appreciation for you when you step out there now Sunday night in LA with a packed stand? It won't be your fans, but still, it's just fans in a stadium looking at how far this league and you guys have come in the last year.
I really believe there'll be that for all of us. Every game, including tonight's game, we're all gonna feel it. We're gonna say football's back, and there's just always that feeling when you're standing on that sideline for the national anthem, and you're just out there ready to know that it's right there. It's right around the corner. You got the coin toss. The juices are going. It's a different pace than these preseason games. But for the fans, such a huge part of this deal, and just across the world, that it just gives you a lot of pride and happiness to be a part of it, and we all feel fortunate. So we'll all have the goosebumps going that first game, and the fans are going to be a big part of it. Appreciate it.
How eager are you to see how the running game all comes together this week?
Repeat it. I can't hear you.
How eager are you to see how the running game all comes together this week?
I'm just eager in general to just go out and play with the guys. Honestly, play against somebody new and different from camp, from playing against our guys. So I'm excited and eager just to go out there and play.
What's impressed you about Damian and his skill set and what he kind of brings to the backfield?
He's like a big vet, so he's more like a big brother, and like some stuff that I don't know that I have not known, being like young in the league. He helps me a lot as far as like that on the mental aspect. And like him being a veteran, being able to still move how he moves is pretty impressive too.
Talk about being excited and, just ready to go out and play. What is your approach going to be this season now that you have a healthier running back room? You got Damon, you got Khalil behind him, and the pressure may be off you a tad bit. Does that change how you're going to play the game this year?
Nah, I'm just going in it every game and every opportunity I get as if it's my last. So I just want to be sure that I leave it all out on the field whenever I get an opportunity to.
What did Damian teach you? You said there were things you didn't know being a young guy. Is there any specific thing you can tell us about?
I can't tell you that.
David, you really were ascending at the end of last year. What's your confidence level like as you start this season, and what are your personal expectations for yourself in year 3?
Last year's last year. So whatever it was. It's a new year. I just want to go out and just be the best me, the best version of myself I can be. Whenever the opportunity presents itself. So like the mindset that I have is try to going in, just being me. And Coach Nagy preaches just be you, and bringing everybody else around me with me so that we can get this thing rolling.
Any goals?
Just to win.
Did it feel like a breakthrough to you last year? Did it feel like there were things that clicked for you last season that didn't your rookie year?
I mean, it's just football at the end of the day. Sometimes things work, sometimes things don't. And when they do, you just kind of just want to stay honed in to when you get those opportunities and you get in those situations where you kind of got to make that play or you got to make it happen. And it happens. It's a relief, but it's also at the same time, it's confirmation that we can be as good as we can be once we get it going.
What gives you confidence in the 5 offensive linemen in front of you, and how much of that is a rhythm of kind of getting a feel as a back of where your holes are going to be?
So you asked me 2 questions, right?
Yeah.
The first question was?
What gives you confidence in the offensive line in front of you?
God first. I mean, first and foremost. I mean, I can't play this game or do anything that I do if it's not for God. God orders every step for me and orders every step for everybody else around me as well. But also just those guys in front of me. Like, they haven't shown me anything or give me an opportunity to make me think that I shouldn't have confidence in those guys. So I'm excited just to go out there and play along them.
The second question is, you ran behind an offensive line that was changing week to week for a lot of last year, and then there was stability down the stretch, and it started. Is there a certain rhythm that a back gets when there's continuity up front, and does it change anything for you in terms of vision and things that you feel?
I mean, I guess it just depends on the game and the situation, how things are going. But it's always good when you can get like a rhythm going and you can kind of get your feet in the ground and you can, move around a little bit and do what you're capable of doing. So, yeah, it's definitely good to have that like reassurance that, you got the group of guys and that's who you're rolling with. So, but at the end of the day, you understand it's the NFL and guys get hurt, and you got to have the next play and the next person mentality. So, got to pick up where you left off.
David, when you play one snap in a preseason game and that's your preseason work, how do you know that you're ready to go? Do you listen to your body in practice? How do you know that you're ready for the season to start?
Well, I really don't have a choice because the season gonna start whether I wanted to or not. I mean, I really wanted to, of course, obviously, but those are those things that the reps that you get in practice where you get opportunities to kind of, go do what you would do if in live situations. You kind of got to take advantage of it. So we had live periods in camp, which were good, and I had fun doing. But at the same time, like I'm a running back, so like I get hit all the time. Like you never forget what a hit feels like. So when I go back out there, I'm gonna get hit again. I'm be like, I knew that was gonna happen.
David, when you're in here talking with us, you seem a lot different than you did when you first got here, as far as talking to the media. You seem a lot more comfortable with all of the attention or the questions or whatever it might be. How much has changed for you since that first summer here to now?
Just simply experience. You know, you when I come in as a rookie, like, you don't know what to expect or what kind of questions you guys ask or how serious I can be. But at the end of the day, it's just questions. You know, it's really simple. Whether you like the answer or not, it's my answer. So.
Well, you've gone from kind of like short answers and kind of shy to challenging Mark Potash to a bowling match. I mean, like, the press conferences have gotten a lot different than they did since that first summer in Bourbonnais, and I just wonder if there's just parts of this job that you've gotten more comfortable with, if you've come out of your shell as a person. I know it's just the media interactions, so I mean, I can only base it on that. I'm just wondering how much you've changed or kind of found your voice in the last few years.
I think sometimes when you say media, people look at it as in a transparent sense. When in all actuality, you guys are humans at the end of the day too. So you got feelings, you got emotions, just like us players got feelings and we got emotions. So once you start, it's like a natural thing that happens. Once you begin to get comfortable with people, you begin to open up and talk about things you're not normally used to talking about or saying what you feel like you can say now. So I kind of look at it as you guys have done anything or you showed me the utmost respect, so what would it be like for me not to do the same for y'all? So it's kind of how I look at it.
David, you talked earlier this offseason about tired of being slept on as one of the top running backs in the league, and now you're really excited for week one. Is there any extra excitement knowing that you're going to be Sunday Night Football? You got a platform right away to show the league. You know what? I really am one of the top backs in the league.
I think I view it as like every opportunity is a platform, whether the lights are on or if they're off. I mean, I look at practice as if it's a platform because, you know, it's an opportunity for me to go show my God-given abilities and be confident in doing it. So the difference in Sunday is it's at night. You know, I try to prepare practice and, you know, taking notes as if the game is at practice. So, I mean, it really ain't different, but the light's just on, I guess.
What about conversations been like with James Daniels this week ahead of Saturday's rivalry?
Yeah, I talked to him. It was a pretty intense conversation, but I think when it's all said and done, when the media or when you guys come to talk to us next week, I'll be a very happy camper.
Thank you.
Jim, what are your impressions of this receiving core that you're about to face on Sunday night and the balance that they have?
What is my impression? I'll just say playmaking ability. That just stands out the most. They don't do anything fancy, but they do the simple things really good. They all can block pretty well. They all run pretty good routes. They all make plays after the catch. Even on jet sweeps, they extend plays. So, I mean, just their playmaking ability and their versatility throughout the offense.
Jalen, what are some of the challenges that go with facing, a new quarterback that obviously from the Lions, but he's in a different system now with Sean McVay around?
I mean, just the unknown from what him and McVay are going to come up with, what their scheme is going to be, how they make adjustments from what they did last year with golf and things like that. I mean, just the unknown, being able to come in and play sound, disciplined football.
And Sean talked about watching both like Stafford to the Lions and Rams? Is that sort of like the combination this week?
Right, for sure. I mean, Stafford is who he is. At the end of the day, he has his tendencies. He has the way that he plays football, and he's been doing it for a long time. So I don't think he's going to change now that he's at a new team. Just being able to watch that old film and kind of see some of his tendencies, and also what McVay does as a play caller and things like that with the Rams, and just try to put 2 and 2 together.
I know you're obviously focused on the game that's coming up, but what do you remember from the last play of the first game against Stafford when you knocked the ball away? What was going through your mind? A rookie coming in, you obviously won a job, you didn't have preseason, you didn't have off-season practices. What was that like for you to make an impact immediately?
I mean, honestly, there's no difference in making any other play. I mean, it was just seeing the ball in the air and just trying to make a play like I do any other time. I mean, it felt good to get that first win like that, but I mean, it was just another play.
Jalen, for the defense as a whole, there's a lot of curiosity to see if it can kind of reverse the trend since 2018. How would you describe the mentality you guys are kind of having and taking into this season as you try and obviously be the best defense you can be?
I mean, honestly, I feel like it's kind of basically what you said, using that as motivation. 'Cause I mean, clearly, that 2018 team and defense was something special. And I feel like we're tired of hearing, when can we get back to that, when can we get back to that? So, I mean, just for us, it's just about being who we are and playing tough, sound, physical football each and every week. And that's how we attack practice. That's how we attack everything we're doing. So just trying to get back to that and kind of take that doubt out of people's minds on what type of defense we are.
What gives you the confidence that you guys can move in that direction and be more dominant?
I mean, the work that we're putting in, just the mindset, the attitude, the mentality that we have, attacking each day. We're never content with the work. After good practices, we still have things to clean up, and just always wanting to be perfect. Just reaching for that perfection level, I feel like, is what is setting us up.
The guys who were on that 2018 team, what have they told you, just kind of in passing, about what it was like and what it felt like? And does that inform kind of what your interpretation of the really dominant defense could be?
Right, I feel like it kind of starts with the culture and how they ran things then. They were really tight-knit group. Even from the celebrations, it was different. They was just, you can just tell they were a family out there. They all played together, they trusted each other, and they had fun doing it, and they made a lot of plays.
Have you noticed a culture change from this year to last year?
100%. I mean, it kind of just started with at the top with Coach Sean coming in. That was something that he's preached to us since day one, is that it's going to be our defense and that we're going to make it what we want to make it. And just as the leaders, as a group, we just kind of really sat down and figured out who we're going to be as a defense and what it's going to take to do it. So, I mean, we hold each other accountable to that level and to that standard every day.
Who's in charge of the celebrations then?
A little bit of everybody, but Eddie, I would say, is the main hype guy right now.
Not Goldman, right?
You don't really talk too much right now.
So Jalen, do the celebrations now have to be married with the dunks? There's a lot to get.
Oh, no, they're separate. They're separate.
All right.
There's the Showtime on the field celebration, then you have the defensive unit celebration on the sideline with everybody else.
There's a lot to get to, right? You got to check off those boxes.
Yeah, I mean, once you make a play, everybody's in the end zone right away. So, I mean, it's going to be fun for sure to see.
Jalen, the Bears during the offseason added a lot of speed at the wide receiver position and even more this week. How much of that did you notice in practice, and how does that kind of change, how does that affect the defense?
It definitely puts pressure on you throughout the week. Just going against a lot of speedy receivers. And that, I mean, it just makes normal speed seem not so fast anymore. You just kind of see that world-class speed with Godwin. You see that with Perriman now since he came in. Just how those guys move just makes the game really slow down and allows you to get comfortable playing against speedy receivers.
You talk about there being a really culture difference with Sean Desai. Are you able to have more input personally than you were last year that really created that 100% culture difference?
I mean, it's tough because I was a rookie, so I didn't say nothing. But, I mean, now I feel like it's a combination of both because, I mean, he opens up the table for people to say their input, say what they like, what they don't like, what modifications we can make. Or, I mean, he even has a suggestion box. So, I mean, if you want to write some things down, put it in there, then him and the coaches will look at it and see if they can make it applicable to what we're doing. So, I mean, he's definitely open and transparent with the whole defense and everything we're doing.
There's actually a physical suggestion box at Sean's office?
I mean, I wouldn't say a physical box, but I mean, you can always pull them to the side and
I
let me talk to
You
them.
mentioned it before, I didn't know if he actually set one up for you.
I haven't put anything in the box. I mean, I don't know.
It's a metaphor, Dan.
I know. Thank you, guys.
That was me, and
I was gonna say, did you know
sincerely
that?
sorry.
Was that a guess?
Well, no, I didn't.
Oh.
Yeah.
I thought you had called.
No. Yes, I did. Questions?
Robert, how excited are you to just get out and play a football game and not have to answer questions like last year?
No, it's a exciting, feeling. Of course, we go through training camp and all this, just to get, to the regular season. So it's exciting to know finally it's here. We're not just practicing against each other. We finally get to play something where it actually means something. So just excited. Well, even though we're a few days away, but.
And now you were saying that you're a pretty chill guy.
I'm what?
You're a pretty chill guy, but he imagines that deep down, you're ready to go, and that there's something burning deep in there. Is that a fair description?
Yeah, that's the best way to describe it. As you can, I'm one of probably the most chillest dudes, I think. But, something about, game day and stuff like that. It's just, again, we're practicing and doing all this. I got a very chill personality, but on game day, that's when it means.
Does it matter that it's the Rams?
Nope.
What about Matthew Stafford leaves an impression on you, the times you played him, and how it might sort of marry up with the offense that they have in LA right now?
Well, we all know Stafford has a great arm. Definitely make all the throws, and him joining, McVay over in LA. I'm sure they got a whole bunch of crazy schemes drawn up, but I guess with what we got going on is mano a mano. Is your man better than our man? And it's just a number, and we all got to go prove ourselves out there. So,
Robert, I'm interested in that chill off the field and then kind of flipping the switch when you get out there. Is it sort of like flipping a switch when you get out there? How does that work for you? Sort of amping up the energy when you get into a game?
Well, when you're not on the field, I mean, what's the purpose of being all hyped up and stuff? You're just kind of sitting there. But once you hear music or the crowd roaring or something, it's just, I don't know, it's just something. The energy just comes from, I guess, the noise or whatever. I don't know. It's just an exciting feeling. I mean, I'm sure we all competed at some sport, so when it's crunch time, you just get yourself hyped, however it is.
Did you miss that last year? You played a lot of games in a lot of empty stadiums.
You said, did I miss?
Yeah, did you miss that energy that came from fans and from music and all of that wasn't really there last year because of the virus?
I did miss the fans. I always say whether they were, trash talking, cussing me out or giving me praise, like that's part of the fun of the game. So, I mean, I definitely missed that. But, and then, of course, last year I thought the music was going to be louder, but it is what it is. But at the end of the day, we got our fans back, and I'm sure we won't hear too much music, just some boos and cheering.
Robert, are you charging Ogletree rent or making him do any chores at your house right now?
Nah, man. Nah, that's a great friend of mine. Blessed that he got put in this situation, and of course, things happen so fast. Blessed to be in my position. So again, we knew each other, I guess since 13. So however many years that is, so no need to stay in a hotel when you got a great friend right down the road with the open bedroom. So no, as far as renting stuff, he brings bottled waters in the house. So
But what's it been like for you, obviously being his host for a weekend and then seeing him become the starting inside linebacker for week 1 over the last month?
Well, it's still shocking me, because he, not to, anyway, he wasn't on the team. He comes to hang out with me, watch my sister run, and all of a sudden he's signing to the Bears. It happens fast. But I guess with that being said, I know he's an experienced linebacker. It's still kind of weird seeing, after leaving with us being with the Rams. I don't know. It's just an exciting feeling to have someone very well on the same team. And again, like you said, he gets the start, and I'm sure he's going to make the most of his opportunity.
How did you meet him at 13?
I'm sorry?
How did you guys meet when you were 13?
No, in 2013. 2013.
Robert,
Couple more. Jalen Johnson was just saying there's 100% culture change for the defense last year to this year with Sean stepping in. How would you describe the difference in culture being that drastic, and how do you think it's going to impact you guys? Obviously, you hope playing much better on the field.
I mean, I think the culture's always been kind of there. I think it's just maybe more of the accountability. I mean, you know, again, you think of Bears, you always think of defense. It's just more of guys holding each other accountable. Guys, you know, Jalen only in his second year, so guys getting older realize how precious this game is, and you know, each mistake, whoever makes, is going to cost either themselves or the team. And end of the day, you know, faces change all the time, and you just want to make sure you're not the one not doing your job. So I guess again, this goes to that accountability thing on whatever the coaches call, do your job, and you know, make no excuses.
For the players, would you say there's a level of motivation coming off of last season to be better? You know, going into the accountability thing, like you're saying, treasuring the time that you do have playing. Is it a motivated defense?
Well, again, I think we're all motivated for our individual reasons. But again, you know, the Bears organization is known for the defense, and you know, I guess when I was here last year to go 8-8 and you know, middle of the pack isn't standards from, you know, that I can tell. So, and I don't accept that as my, you know, my standard either. So. End of the day is, again, the standard is just keep as many points off the board and, you know, just win games. So, pretty simple game.
They could come out and they could throw a lot on Sunday. As a pass rusher, do you get excited when you see a team that may have a ton of dropbacks?
Well, it was a ton of dropbacks. I'm sure they're not going to leave clean edges. So, you know, again, that's what I was saying, mano a mano. If they trust their man, they'll leave a clean edge. If not, well, I'll leave it at that.
Thanks, Robert. Appreciate it.
Good day.